Vigilance in oneself is an important virtue. It can often make the difference when it comes to preventing an unfortunate event, especially concerning one's own safety. In that respect, safety and vigilance go hand in hand, and one must learn to strike a delicate balance between vigilance and diligence. That is the precise aim of Hyundai's Be the Better Guy campaign, and this time around, they strive to aim even higher with a special emphasis on safety begins with you. To drive home the point, we've come up with a list of daily checks that you must ensure before heading out on your daily commute or out on the open highway. So, let's get cracking then. And foremost, always begin with a visual inspection of your car before heading out onto a daily commute or a weekend drive. Let's start with the lights. Now they must remain clean and should not be dust filled. As the saying goes, cleanliness is next to godliness, and that applies to your car as well. So always ensure that your lights are clean, whether they're the tail lights, the headlamps or the indicators. Next up is one of the most ignored parts of any automobile: tires. Now, it is important to keep a note of the rubber and the tread wear on the tires, because if you don't do so, there can be a loss of grip, especially on wet surfaces. In fact, braking can also be negatively impacted if the tires are starting to smooth out. The best way to tell the depletion of your tire is by simply using a coin to check how much the rubber has weared away. Although it is always there when you need it, often it can be completely forgotten. I'm talking about the jack and the toolbox. Now, it's very important to make sure that you carry these things before heading out anywhere in case of a puncture or any other minor repairs. For example, you will need the wrench to open the lug nuts, you will need the jack to lift up the car in case of a puncture, and you will need other tools as well in case there is any other minor repair required. Now, under the hood, one of the most crucial visual inspections one must conduct before heading out is the engine oil check. Now, the engine oil is to the car what blood is to us, and hence it has to remain lubricated at all times. If it isn't, it reduces the life cycle of the engine significantly. Now, if you want to check the engine oil, all you have to do is take out the dipstick, clean it with a piece of cloth, and dip it back again. Once you do that, you'll be able to check how much engine oil there really is on the inside. Next, we move on to the washer fluid. Now, the washer fluid can be checked through a small nozzle on the right side in the Verna over there, and it must be filled with water and a slight bit of cleaning solution to ensure that the windscreen remains clean at all times. Remember, clarity is most important, and seeing out on the road is even more important. Next, we move on to the battery. Now, the battery must be checked before heading out onto the road, and a simple way of doing this is switch on the lights without starting the car on ignition and leave it on for about 10 minutes. After that, start the car and see the dimness of the lights on turnover. If they have dimmed quite a bit, it might be time for a battery change. There are other fluids also that can be checked, for example, the brake fluid and the transmission fluid, but make sure you check when they can be opened, because they can't be checked at all times. So ensure that you have a look as to when they're hot and when they're not, and make your checks accordingly. Now, before you head out, there are a couple of pre-drive checks you must make sure of. That seatbelt saves lives. It is a known fact around the world. But there are a lot of malpractices in India where there are aftermarket products that fit into the buckle. Please avoid that at all times. All Hyundai cars come with seatbelt reminders, both front and back, as per government regulations. So always remember, buckle up safely and make sure the seatbelt is tight. Now, another very important aspect from behind the wheel is the seating position and the seating height. Now, the Verna gets electronically adjustable seats, so getting into a good and commanding position isn't difficult at all. Now, ideally, you should have a clear view of the bonnet, and the edges of the car should be in your vision so you can judge where you're going exactly. So make sure that that is visible and your seats are adjusted according to your height. The essential is adjusting the steering wheel according to your height and driving position. Now the best way to do that is to fold your wrist over the steering wheel so that you can then adjust the seat accordingly. Remember, the Verna gets tilt and telescopic adjust, so you must ensure that the steering wheel is not too high because it doesn't come naturally to most, and it is not too low so that it doesn't restrict movement. Also remember to keep a check on your internal rear view mirror, as it is vital to see the traffic behind you, and also to make sure that your rear occupants are safe. One good practice is to take a soft cloth and clean it right before a drive, especially in the night, because you want to have a clear field of vision. Also make sure that the side view mirrors are clean and you have a wide view on both sides to ensure that you're moving through traffic safely. Now once you're out and about on the road, the foremost thing that you must take care of is the speed limit. Speed kills isn't just an anecdote, it is the harsh reality of life on the road. So whether you're on a highway or an expressway or just small city streets, make sure that you know the speed limit and you remain under that speed limit, not only for your safety but also for the safety of others. It is also important to note that being too slow on an expressway or a highway is also a cause for danger. So make sure that you are at a comfortable speed wherein you feel that you are in control of your car. Now, before I tell you about the ADAS Level 2 features on the Verna, let me tell you a little about ADAS itself. It stands for Advanced Driver Assistance Systems, and it basically uses cameras and radar-based sensors to make sure you have a safer drive. In that respect, the Verna comes with cameras, radars and sensors both at the front and the back to make sure you're extremely comfortable in these plush seats and also safe. As the saying goes, lane driving is safe driving. And well, that is one aspect of driving in India which requires some serious attention. So make sure that you're extra vigilant when changing lanes. It is best to indicate first, look to your right or look to your left and see if there's a car coming from behind or there's a car in front, and then change your lane accordingly. Also make sure there is enough distance between both cars and then indicate towards where you're going and then eventually make that lane change. On the highway or on the expressway, also make sure that you pick your lane correctly. If you are moving slowly, try and move to the lane to the left. If you're driving at a moderate speed, stay in the middle lane. But if you're in a bit of a hurry, please take the rightmost lane, which is the lane used for overtaking. However, don't exceed the speed limit like we've told you before. And there you have it. I hope you've learned a thing or two about being a safer driver. Don't forget, safety begins with you. And if there is a concentrated effort to improve on one's own driving skills, Indian roads should be a lot safer place to be. And always remember, be the better guy, whether it's at home, and the roads, or in any social setting. This is Abhinav signing off. Until next time, goodbye.